Parshat Shoftim, contains a fascinating prohibition. Lo tasig gevul reacha. You may not encroach upon the boundary of your fellow. What does this mean? Well, you have two people who have property next to one another. Let's say they have farms. The farms are very big. They're acres and acres and acres. So one of the neighbors wants to increase their territory, their land. So they take the marker between the boundaries of the two land and they move it backwards into their neighbor's land, thereby increasing their own territory. So the Torah says you may not do that. Lo tasig gevul reacha. You may not encroach upon your fellow's boundary, thereby increasing your own land. So Rashi points out, he says, well, why do we need a special prohibition for this? Isn't this just theft? This is theft. And he explains, yes, it is theft, but this is a special prohibition that applies specifically in the land of Israel. So outside the land of Israel, if one would encroach upon territory, you would be transgressing the prohibition of stealing. In the land of Israel, it's a double prohibition. Now, over the ages, this concept of what we call hasagat gevul, encroaching upon another's territory, was expanded to mean where you're encroaching upon another person's ideas, their work, the work that they had done. So, for example, a person put in a great deal of time and effort into printing a book, and another person just goes and copies it. It's all there, it's all in existence, and they just copy it. Well, that's cheating in a way. That's encroaching upon another person's boundary because you're taking all of their hard work and you're just expropriating it for yourself. And this is where, in halakha, the whole concept of trademark and copyright came into the intellectual property, as it were, that you cannot take another person's intellectual property. We know that today, often when you open up a Jewish book, usually it's a Jewish book of law, there'll be what's called a haskama, an approbation, where the author has gone to some great rabbi and said, read my book, read the manuscript, and tell me if you think it's worthwhile. And he'll write a haskama, and he'll say this is a worthwhile book. But it actually started off when printing began, when publishing began, people would go to a great rabbi and say, please could you write a letter instructing people that they're not allowed to copy my work. This is my intellectual property. I put a lot of effort into this, and somebody shouldn't just steal it. This is a particular area that is expanded enormously today, where we have so many different items of intellectual property, whether it's films, whether it's audio lectures, whatever it may be. And many of these are on the internet. And often they are posted illegally, so that people can just download them. Well, we shouldn't forget that this is also a form of theft, of hasagat gevul, encroaching on another person's territory. And you'll often find this in the beginning of Torah books, where they'll have a note and they'll say that photostating this book or copying this book is an actual transgression of Jewish law, and they'll quote this verse, lo hasagat gevul. So we have to be respectful of all of the time and the effort and the energy and the resources that somebody has put into the project, and not just copy it for ourselves without permission. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.